We begin this evening with an alarming setback in the fight against the National Defense Authorization Act, as a federal court has just ruled in favor of indefinite detention of U.S. citizens. Last month, District Judge Catherine Forrest said in her ruling, First Amendment rights have already been harmed and will be harmed by the prospect of the law being enforced. And she permanently blocked the NDAA provision. Permanently. Well, as it turns out, permanently under the twisted Obama administration equals about 1 month. And wouldn't you know it, Obama moved to appeal the decision the very next day and demanded that they reinstate the indefinite detention provisions. The administration characterized the ruling last month as unconstitutional. So once again, it feels like we are living in the Twilight Zone, or perhaps George Orwell's 1984, because only in an Orwellian society would a president declare that a judge's block on indefinite detention of U.S. citizens to be considered unconstitutional. I mean, seriously, is there no end to the madness? And who were the judges who ruled in Obama's favor, might you ask? Well, all three of them were appointed to the appeals court by Obama himself. Way to go, guys. I mean, really, this looks like a domestic attack on the American people. When you look at this law, I mean, it could be used by authorities to forever detain anyone that the federal government considers to be a threat. You know, people that are in different political groups, protesters, demonstrators, journalists, whistleblowers, you name it. This will go down in history as the end of due process.
Do you feel frustrated with mainstream ideologies? Do you ever complain about establishment bias? Or do you use social media? Well, if you're an active duty soldier, then these absurdly common factors that accompany being a critical thinking human being now coin you as a potential terrorist or radical extremist who could soon kill your coworkers. Wired magazine just obtained a leaked document from within the U.S. Army's Terrorism Advisory Organization called a Tactical Reference Guide for Radicalization into Violent Extremism. The document's intended to recognize internal threats within the Army ranks, and within it is a very comprehensive flowchart of certain risk factors. The first column of the chart, called Observe Personal Issues, lists indicators of predisposition to radicalization, including complaining about bias, needing empowerment, being socially withdrawn, believing in government conspiracies, lacking positive identity with country, unit, family, and friends, exhibiting reclusiveness. If one exhibits any of these common qualities of being a living, breathing human being, leadership must notify the chain of command in order to maintain unit cohesion and morale. So basically, if a soldier projects some sort of individual thought, then they are officially deemed a hazard. On another section of the chart, there are more serious flags for radicalization that call for the immediate investigation, including being sympathetic to radical groups, visiting extremist websites, attending extremist rallies, isolating oneself, attempting to recruit others to extremist causes. Notice that it doesn't even say terrorist. It says an even more vague characterization of extremist and radical. So, what is considered extremist and what is considered to be radical? Could that entail realizing that you don't want to sacrifice your life for unjust wars, and could recruitment of others to extremist causes mean simply talking to others in your unit about concerns with U.S. foreign policy? But perhaps the most bizarre thing of all is in another section of the chart that lists more risk factors for radicalization, one of which says social networks. Yup. So basically, they're taking one of the only links to human interaction that soldiers may have and labeling it as a warning sign of terrorism. Now, if you think this is all meaningless drivel, think again. You know, I was under the impression that something needed to constitute an actual threat before the government tried to make a pre-crime arrest against you. But apparently not. One only has to look at what happened to Brandon Robb, 26-year-old decorated Marine veteran of both Iraq and Afghanistan, when he started spouting off anti-government opinions on his Facebook page. Check out some of these posts. He says, "Friends, you deserve to know the truth. There have been an overwhelming amount of evil enacted and planned against you, your children, your countrymen. It's in great scope. Your government is evil. It's as simple as that. The cavalry is coming." Here's another one. "Dear friends in the military, the time for choosing has come. Will you continue to ignore the obvious lie of 9/11, or will you stand and fight for your people?" And yet another. "I'm starting the revolution. I'm done waiting." Well, Soon after writing these posts, the FBI, accompanied by Secret Service agents, went to Brandon's house, detained and committed him to a psychiatric ward for psychological evaluation for about a week. He was finally released after a judge ruled his detainment unlawful. Brandon Robb's case should be a wake-up call. Are people going to be nabbed up simply for vocalizing their opposition to the government now? And keep this in mind, Brandon is not actively enlisted in the military, and he owns no firearms. However, he is pissed because he found out the wars he fought for were based on lies. And you know what? I would be too if I spent the last 6 years of my life fighting 2 wars founded entirely on falsehoods. The government claimed that he was taken to be evaluated because they were worried that he might hurt himself or others based on what he had written. But nothing that he wrote could really be construed as a threat against himself or anyone else. Now let's break this down. Do you really think the government gives a crap about veterans' mental health? If they did, maybe they would make it easier to treat PTSD or actually provide veterans with the benefits they deserve. Like helping to prevent the 18 veteran suicides that happen every single day. But no, seems like they only take notice if someone's speaking out about the lies that underwrite the establishment's justification for war. This is the message. It's become an occupational hazard in the military to be a human being. If you don't obey and conform to whatever orders your chain of command is giving you, then you're a risk, plain and simple. Maybe it would be better for the military if they just got rid of soldiers altogether and replaced them with robots. Apparently, it's perfectly acceptable to give your life to fight in the government's wars, but don't you dare question its motives, and don't you dare express yourself. Look, the most powerful weapon that you can hold is the truth, and the truth is exactly what scares the establishment the most.
Insider documents recently obtained by InfoWars reveal the current and ongoing operations to staff FEMA and U.S. Army camps inside the U.S. According to our sources, KBR is contracting services for temporary fencing and barricades, along with other services required for temporary emergency environment camps. They're to be located in 5 regions of the United States. Now, this comes immediately after the Senate passed the National Defense Authorization Act, which allows indefinite detention of American citizens. All this at a time when economic conditions and mass demonstrations sweep through the country and threaten potential unrest. The government has patiently put into place the crucial elements of its police state grid and planned for the internment of political enemies. We are literally one false flag terror attack away from the plan going live. As the Department of Homeland Security and establishment media keep telling us, the next terror event will be on American soil and carried out by domestic patriot political groups, not Al-Qaeda. The FBI and the CIA have a long history of creating domestic terrorists, you know, patsies, and shifting the blame over to their political enemies.
It's all there. All the government documents, all the government admissions, a civilian inmate labor camp program run by the Army, where they're at, all the details down to how they're going to break the families up and where the children go and the forced inoculations and everything. I mean, it just boggles the mind that all of this is happening.
The fact that detention camps are being constructed inside our country and are now being staffed and readied for emergency situations, what can no longer be ignored or ridiculed as a conspiracy theory. Senate committee hearings and official Homeland Security documents further illustrate the mindset of our federal government as they classify homeschoolers, gun rights activists, constitutionalists, and returning veterans as potential terrorists, by default creating an entire nation of radicals and revolutionaries, where everyone is a suspect, equally guilty until proven otherwise.
FEMA camps are real.
What?
Please share these raps. I'm sure we could close them if we expose them before the collapse.
You sound like a freaking paranoid, crazy fool. FEMA camps ain't real.
Check your iPhone if you think I'm lying about HR 645.
What?
Or FM 3-39.
What?
If Siri shows proof, then maybe you can finally stop denying.
Smiley, you need a re-education camp.
Can't you see I'm awake? I don't want re-education. I don't want to have to slave or to take their vaccinations. Cause I tell the truth, they'll take me as a traitor and torture me to death, modifying my behavior. My neighbor told me last week what the TSA did to his 12-year-old niece. I hear the camp police are mostly TSA officials, as well as foreign troops, so family bonds are not an issue. You better come with me too, they're coming for us all. Now that they got a list of who supported Ron Paul, it's called re-education, hardcore indoctrination, Obama admin policy appreciation. We gave up our freedoms when they showed us Osama. Then we all hated Bush, so we voted Obama. Now most are awake, but it's kinda too late. Weaponized drones now patrol every state.
Please, mama, no mama, I don't wanna go to Camp Obama. I don't wanna go, I don't wanna go, I don't wanna go to Camp Obama. Please, mommy, no mommy, I don't wanna go to Camp Mitt Romney. I don't wanna go, I don't wanna go, I don't wanna go to Camp Mitt Romney.
It's an all-out purge of the American people who see the two-party system as corrupted and evil. We saw how they silenced folks like Ron Paul, who exposed their corruption and spoke for us all. I checked the Constitution, our founders didn't mention that asking for the truth gets you indefinite detention. But the Pentagon said in this new century, political dissent is the new enemy. That means you, me, and anyone who's not a clone, glued to their TV, being programmed from home. They raided our home after Dad took out a drone. They took away our gold and almost every gun we own. It's 2 years later, Camp Obama's fully functioning. With Dad was slave labor, now he lays amongst the dead. I'm real sorry, mama, I wish that I could stay, but before the FEMA trucks pull up, I gotta get away. Gotta run.
Please, mama, no mama, I don't wanna go to Camp Obama. I don't wanna go, I don't wanna go, I don't wanna go to Camp Obama. Please, mommy, no mommy, I don't wanna go to Camp Mitt Romney. I don't wanna go, I don't wanna go, I don't wanna go to Camp Mitt Romney.
I don't want their vaccinations,
I don't wanna go to Camp Obama.
and I don't want re-education.
I don't wanna go to Camp Obama.
I wanna be free, I gotta be me. I'm so sorry, mama, I gotta leave.
I don't wanna go, I don't wanna go, I don't wanna go to Camp Obama.
I don't wanna be tortured by TSA thugs,
I don't wanna go to Camp Obama.
and I don't wanna be force-fed psychotropic drugs.
I don't wanna go to Camp Obama.
I wanna be free, I gotta be me. I'm so sorry, mama, I gotta leave.
I don't wanna go, I don't wanna go, I don't wanna go to Camp Obama. I'm sorry, mama.
I'm the only candidate that doesn't want to bomb Iran. I am the only candidate that wants to get out of Afghanistan now. Bring the troops home. My name is Gary Johnson. Be libertarian with me for one election. Live free.